It's a really good bird. They're the monsters of the ocean.
One thing that should be on every birder's bucket list is a pelagic tour. Pelagics are birding-specific trips out to the open ocean. They usually last several hours and offer a unique look at species you would have little to no chance of seeing up close on land. We had the opportunity to go on our first ever pelagic, and preparations started the night before. Tomorrow is going to be the first pelagic that we've ever gone on, so to try to prepare for that, we have seasickness patches. A lot of people have said that it's pretty much necessary because it ruins the experience completely if you're out there feeling nauseous the whole time. So going to apply this, and then tomorrow bright and early is going to be the pelagic, the first one that either of us has ever done. So it's going to be a really unique experience. The pelagic we chose to go on was run by Westport Seabirds in Westport, Washington, one of the most legendary pelagics in the country. We arrived at the dock before the sun came up with our friend John, who is also joining us, excited to get started.
We're here at the Westport Marina, float number 10, so our boat should be down there. We have the seasickness patch. Hard to say if it's really having any effect. Definitely feel a little tired, but could just be the jet lag. We're gonna walk down. Hopefully this mist clears a little bit, but this kind of feels what I expected it to be, a little foggy and misty, and then to warm up a little bit as the day goes on. So excited for this pelagic. Let's see what we can get.
We boarded the Monte Carlo, and after all of the birders had gathered, we heard from Captain Phil Anderson, as well as the seabird spotters on what to expect on the tour. Shortly after, we left the docks and headed out to sea. With light starting to break through the clouds and everyone surveying the waves, it took no time at all to get one of us a lifebird. First lifer!
Alright, rhinoceros auklet, that's a good one. And it's really pretty close too.
We continued on, moving relatively fast through the choppy water, all the while spotting new species, including one that was a lifer for all of us. Thus far, we've been getting through this choppy water. We're hoping that there's some time where we're gonna hit calm water and be able to just kind of chill and take more videos, but we've been passing by a lot of birds, rhinoceros auklet, lots of sooty shearwaters, common murre, so there's a lot of species out here that are pretty thick in numbers, and at some point we should get to some more species diversity.
Sooty shearwater is pretty awesome.
That's a light bird, that was cool. It looked like we were gonna see thousands of them based on reports. Also no seasickness yet, but we are moving up and down in the water a lot, and John may have gotten tossed overboard. As we went on, the captain allowed people to move to the sides of the cabin for more viewing opportunities. We took up a position right along the railings and promptly spotted another lifebird.
Just got lifer Pomeranian Jaeger. That's awesome. It is very choppy. It's very hard to take media out here. Definitely some people looking a little seasick, but I think the patch is working for us. It's been a really cool experience. Really hard to take media though. A lot of boat movement. But the sooty shearwaters have been incredible because that was something we heard about on the big year. So seeing any bird mentioned the big year is always cool. Trying to kind of hang on for dear life here while filming.
While this part of the tour was producing a lot of new birds, we were hopeful that our ultimate destination would yield even more. So what we're doing is we're going out to the deep water where the boat's actually going to stop and then they're going to chum. So all of the seabirds in that area are going to come in and hopefully give us a nice show for about 45 minutes to an hour in that deeper part where all the birds are going to congregate. On our way to our deep water destination, we moved to the front of the boat and got looks at another new shearwater species. Pink-footed shearwater, that's another lifebird to add to the list so far today, which is ever growing, and we're not even quite to the best spot to look. So this has been exciting so far. There's a lot of people spotting, and we'll see if we can get any more really cool species. The pink-footed shearwater was one of the most abundant birds we saw during our time on the ocean, tallying over 1,000 of them. They can be found off the Pacific coasts of both South America and North America, and are the largest shearwater species typically seen on the western shores of the United States. Still going through some rough water, the crew of the Monte Carlo did a great job making sure everyone was doing okay. There was clean water and bathrooms on the boat, and they brought donuts and homemade ginger snaps. The ginger snaps are important because ginger is known to help stave off seasickness. Additionally, the seabird spotters were incredibly knowledgeable and stationed at both ends of the boat. At the front with us was Bruce, a man with tons of experience identifying seabirds. With Bruce leading the charge, we quickly added 2 more birds to our life lists.
Got fork-tailed storm petrel, tiny, cool little ocean bird.
Yeah, super small compared to everything else. What a neat species to see,
There's a
added
bunch
to the
of
lifer
birds.
collection. The storm petrels displayed interesting behavior, fluttering and swooping over the water similar to aerial insectivores such as swallows. They were smaller than most of the other birds we saw in the ocean, with fork-tailed storm petrels coming in at just under 8 inches long on average.
Just got parasitic Jaeger as well, so now we're looking for long-tailed and any kind of skiwas. But we're doing pretty well here.
While we were having tons of fun on the tour, there was one issue we ran into that you probably already noticed. Trying to take videos of anything out here with the constant up and down waves is really almost impossible, so I'm going to try my best, but I don't think you're going to get that great a quality on this one. With a little break in the action, we talked with Bruce about some of the targets of the trip that we hadn't seen yet.
This time of year, we're looking mainly for birds coming down from the Arctic, South Polar skuas, which are coming up from Antarctica. Pingfoots are from Chile.
Oh, cool.
So you get this convergence of seabirds from everywhere, you know. So it's a really leeches, forktails breed off our coast, rhinos, murres. A lot of that stuff breeds off our coast, but we're looking mainly for the migrant birds.
We were certainly excited at the prospects of finding these species, but we also really wanted to see one of the biggest seabirds in the region, the black-footed albatross.
It's kind of our signature bird.
Oh, okay.
If we miss it, I think we only miss it like twice.
Oh, you're putting the jinx on us.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh,
Look at that.
Yeah. But and they, you know, they breed in the Hawaiian Islands, and then they come here.
It was then that we happened upon one of the best things to find when looking for birds at sea, a shrimp boat.
Mayhem right now.
Yeah, we're near a, oh wow, you almost
Good.
fell over. We're near a shrimp boat and there's tons of birds out here. Got black-footed albatross as a lifer for all 3 of us. There's a bunch of shearwaters here too, just pandemonium. Shrimp boats are major attractors for seabirds because they deliver food from deep in the ocean up to the surface. Wherever there is food, these opportunistic birds are sure to congregate. In this case, there were hundreds, maybe even thousands of birds gathered around this shrimp boat, including many of the species that we really wanted to see.
We came upon this shrimp boat and craziness ensued. We had the albatrosses out here. They're so majestic and magnificent with their really long wings, and they've been very photogenic, I think. And then just tons of other birds. Really awesome to hear like the pitter of their wings on the water when they take off. So we've been in the thick of it. I think these are our best views. Super exciting.
Everybody rushed to the front of the boat for those birds too. So that shrimp boat really brought everybody in because it brought all the birds in. And it is crazy that just there's nothing out here in terms of structure, but the birds are here because the food's here with the shrimp boat. So it's very interesting to be out on the water with the birds like this, trying to pick out these slight differences in shearwater species. After seeing tons of different birds near the shrimp boats, we continued on to the deep water, which would be our chumming location. On the way, we picked up a small alcid species.
We were heading to our chumming location, but we did pick up a couple cassid zoklets. So we had a ton of excitement. Now we're going to go to the place we're actually going to stop and chum and should see things even closer than we have been thus far.
Just before getting to the deep water, we had an encounter with one of our top targets for the day, the South Polar skua.
It's a really good bird. They're the monsters of the ocean. They're the ones that eat the penguin chicks and everything. They're bad news, but they're really cool to look at.
So they live in Antarctica, you said?
Yeah, they breed them.
They breed down there and then come up here.
Yeah,
South Polar skua, one of the coolest birds so far. Just found out they're bad news, so you don't want to mess with those. We arrived at our deep water chumming location, and the captain put out a mixture of oil and suet in hopes of bringing in the birds. This gave us a chance to eat some lunch and relax as we waited for the birds to show up. Think the chum's gonna work?
I hope so. I think that's our best view, or our best chance of getting media is through the chum.
We've actually had pretty good views of things already, it's just hard to get.
Yeah, it's hard to get media. Even if it does come in close, it's still going to be tough with the rocking, but we'll do our best.
A few black-footed albatrosses, and a Leach's storm petrel made an appearance, but other than that, nothing else came in. Chum was a little bit of a bust.
It was, yeah, we didn't really get much. We had some albatross flybys, a couple Leach's storm petrels, but we're gonna spend our time back by the shrimping boats. Yeah. Who knows if that was from the chum, so.
With not as much success chumming as we had hoped for, we headed back towards shore and some of the shrimp boats we saw earlier. On our way, we kept on the lookout for interesting species. It wasn't just the birds though that got our attention. We had already encountered whales, dolphins, and sea lions, but it was the fish species that were getting us the most excited.
So we got an ocean sunfish, which is something that I've always seen in, media, but see one up close is really awesome. Then we had a little shark come by too.
So
we
like a celebrity with that ocean sunfish.
Yeah, it's like something you've just seen it and you're like, that can't exist, right? But it sure does. And it looks as ridiculous as you would think it would look.
Continuing on, we kept spotting birds as we went, both getting better looks at some we had already seen, and finding new ones as well.
We had two more South Polar skua. One had a really awesome molt. That was definitely the best views we've gotten. It flew right past us. It was epic.
Just got the skua slam with the long-tailed Jaeger. So very good. Also, Derek's camera has been instrumental because everybody keeps referencing it for ID assistance after we see birds from a distance. So all good. Skua slam.
Skua slam.
Skua slam. Eventually, we arrived back at the shrimp boats. Here, the captain again put out more chum, and this proved to be a brilliant move, as many of the birds came in extremely close. Most notably, the black-footed albatrosses.
We just had an epic experience. We stopped by one of the shrimping boats, and then we chummed a little bit behind, and the albatross came right in. The shearwaters were there. There's a skua. There was the storm petrels were hanging out too. So it was just awesome. Best views we've got, best media. It was like the ideal experience out here on this pelagic.
Having by far our best looks at a lot of different seabird species, we went back toward the shore. But before concluding the tour, we would get a chance to look for birds along the breakwalls. We have been headed back now. We haven't seen anything new, but we've still been seeing individual birds, a couple groups flying by, and we are now within eyesight of the shoreline, which means that we're almost done with our pelagic tour, but it also means that it gives us a chance to find more species that like to be closer into the shoreline. So we'll see if we can pick out any last-minute life birds for us or just last-minute cool species. We saw some ruddy turnstones and surf birds on the rocks of the breakwall. After that, we landed back at the docks, received the count totals, and called it a day.
We just got done with our first pelagic, had an incredible time. It was definitely an experience out on the water the whole day. I did feel like we were very prepared, so I'm glad we took the precautions that we did, and would highly recommend the experience to everyone. The people were great, the views were great, and I think we had an exceptionally beautiful day. I don't think it's like that all the time, but it was a great experience for us.
The pelagic tour certainly lived up to our expectations, and in many ways actually exceeded them. We each gained several new life birds, and fulfilled one of the biggest items on our birding bucket lists. A pelagic is certainly something that every serious birder should try at least once, and we will most likely revisit this style of birding again in the future. Have you ever gone on a pelagic? What kind of birds did you see? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding. What's up, John? Lifers.
Life bird.
Nice. You look pretty cool right now, by the way.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like a modern day pirate.
You don't look seasick at all.
You look like this is your element. You're like, I'm gonna be land sick.
Yeah.
Just live out here.
With the birds?
The birds.